Buoyancy is the ability or tendency to float in water, air, or other liquids. The rock sinks because the gravitational force is greater than the buoyant force, and also the rock's heavier than the water.
The soccer ball floats because the gravitational force is less than the buoyant force, which causes the soccer ball to float instead of sink.
Why does a boat float? Any object will either float or sink in water depending on its density. The basic rule is that an object will sink if it weighs more than the same volume of water. A boat floats because the density of the boat itself is less dense than the water it floats on. This free body diagram represents the boat. The buoyancy is 6n up under the boat, which overcomes the gravity, which is 2n, so it's 4n up. Thus, the boat floats.
Did you know hot air balloons use buoyancy to float? They displace as much air as they weigh, and they control it and make them go up and down. Consider the following. If a clay ball and a clay boat are placed in water, the boat will float and the ball will sink, but they will still displace the same amount of water.
My name is Dr. Pond.
Okay, well, as you can see here, we have Dr. Pond, and we're going to be asking you some questions today. So, first of all, why do aircraft carriers
Well, young Jackson, aircraft carriers float because they displace as much water as they weigh. They spread out their weight across vast spaces so that they float over water and that they're less dense than the water that they float on. So the boat floats.
So, Dr. Pond, do you think you could tell us anything about Archimedes' principle?
Well, I know quite a bit about that.
Let's
But
hear it.
to summarize it, a long time ago, in ancient Greece, a mathematician named Archimedes was taking a bath. When he got in, a certain amount of water got displaced and overflowed the rim of the tub. Archimedes figured out that if the weight of the object being placed in the water is less than the weight of the water displaced, the object will float. This is known as buoyancy, or the Archimedes principle.
Wow, that's very interesting. Thank you.
No problem. Glad to help. I'm
So, Dr. Pond, do you have any cool facts you can tell us about buoyancy?
Yes, I do. Buoyancy is very cool, as you can see. Life jackets, in fact, use buoyancy. The material inside a life jacket traps air when the jacket is covered in water. The trapped air weighs much less than the water displaced, so the life jacket floats, and its buoyancy is strong enough to support your weight too.
Really? That's
Yes.
so cool.
I know, right?
Wow. So, Dr. Pond, we're wrapping up the show here. Do you have any other facts that you'd like to tell these wonderful people?
Yes, I do. Well, if you go in a pool and you lay on your back, you'll find that when you inhale, you float much better than you do without air in you. And that is because of buoyancy.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pond. Thanks for doing the show.
I'm afloat on the boat because of buoyancy. Buoyancy. I'm afloat on the boat because of buoyancy. Buoyancy. I'm afloat on the boat because of buoyancy. Buoyancy. I'm afloat on the boat because of buoyancy. Buoyancy. Any object has a density like a penancy. Anything or paint either floats like a boat or sinks like a stink. I'm afloat on the boat because of buoyancy. Buoyancy. I'm afloat on the boat because of buoyancy. Buoyancy. The amount of water came to be the same as the past mass of the boat afloat. Don't be hastement to judge buoyancy, for it floats in air like a hair. I'm afloat on the boat because of buoyancy. Buoyancy. I'm afloat on the boat because of buoyancy. Buoyancy. Buoyancy opposes gravity with an upward force like a horse. I'm afloat on the boat because of buoyancy. Buoyancy. I'm afloat on the boat because of buoyancy. Buoyancy.